Sergeant America coming at you. Boom! Wearing my nice little USS Torx hat. It was a submarine that I got to go through in Baltimore Harbor, Chesapeake Bay Harbor. So it was definitely wonderful to see a bunch of the ships while I was there, but this is about booze and reviews. Jameson and Ginger, and now the books. Hanna-Barbera took a lot of my money this week. Green Lantern and Space Ghost was very nicely done with art. Story was, with Tynan the Fourth. Felt like, there was a lot he wanted to work in. Everything, Hal Jordan was sent to a space sector he had never been to before. It was Uncharted. I don't know how much Uncharted universe there can be nowadays, but of course, as you saw, he saw Larfleeze. Larfleeze was trying to steal a weapon, and that's the problem. They keep trying to be vague about this weapon. Space Ghost is also... Space Ghost is also there trying to stop Larfleeze from stealing a weapon from a planet he's not used to. Of course, both of them are police officers of their respective universes, and we get to see them, of course, fight initially, and then they work together because they were captured. They even at one point had their weapons removed, so when they open up the boxes, they actually had each other's. So Space Ghost had to figure out how to use the ring. Hal had to use the shooter rays that Space Ghost has. I was a big fan of Space Ghost growing up. It was interesting to see. They tried to make his blaster rays on Space Ghost's arms like way more powerful than what I've ever imagined them to be. And he used Hal's ring halfway decently, but said it caused him pain. And of course, Hal's trying to explain to him you have to use your imagination, which leads me to believe with what I see him make sometimes, he doesn't have a very good imagination. So I understand he's got a lot of willpower to do this stuff, but I always love this reverse look. Because they're trying to avoid what the super weapon is, the story did make me feel disconjointed because they kept trying to work around with, trying not to say what it is. I'll let you buy it to see. It was not overly great. But both of them are basically on this one planet, doing the prime, objective sort of thing where they want to save these people, but they don't want to affect it too much. Here's the artwork in here. I thought it was really nice. I flipped through it and I decided I would pick it up because the art. That's Ariel Ovetti is the art and colors. So doing both art and colors, I thought was really astounding. There were some parts, because of trying to make the constructs semi-visible, because, it's almost like that hologram feel. Sometimes it was a little difficult understanding what exactly they wanted to partake. Like when I looked at this one, Space Ghost makes a shark. And it was just a little tough to see in times like that. But in general, I really enjoyed it. The backup story in this was Rough and Ready, a cartoon I do not remember from when I was growing up. And it was not very good. So here we see that's Rough and Ready. Like comedians who were unhappy with the partners that they were paired up with. That was not the best backup story, I gotta admit on that one. But the Space Ghost and Green Lantern, I was not going to pick it up. I mean, it is a $4.99 book, so $5. But like I said, I saw the art. I wanted to go with it. I recognized Tinian's name. Excuse me. So we see the Suicide Squads and Banana Splits. I remembered, of course, reruns on Banana Splits coming in between cartoons. Was not a crazy fan of it. It was one of those things. As a kid, I was waiting for the cartoon, so I didn't really want to see this. But first off, love that cover. Love the look of the Banana Splits. So when they brought them in. I thought it was really nice. This was, let's see if I can find the art. Pencils was Ben Caldwell, and I really did enjoy them. I mean, when you see this right here, that was pretty much the art. I could definitely go for a whole series, or at least an arc. Let's just put it that way. One trade of Banana Splits and Suicide Squad, much better than how the Suicide Squad started in Rebirth. So, I was enjoying all this. Let me see if I can get some pictures of the splits mixing with the... It was a very interesting depiction of Killer Croc right here. I was having trouble guessing at who that was at first until I got into it. So here we see some interaction with like Katana. So I thought that was really kind of nice, and the robots. So all of that was really nice. The backup story was the Mark Russell, who has been writing Flintstones. I really enjoyed his art, his writing, and artist Howard Porter, and I thought this was just beautiful when you see this. The Snagglepuss story I thought was a wonderful backup. I'd seen a hint of it in some other book that I had picked up, but this makes me, there were some things that went back to the Heavens and Murgatroyd cartoon that, he would show up in, I think, Wacky Racers, a lot of that kind of stuff, or the Laugh Olympics. I used to love watching Laugh Olympics, a lot of those kind of things, so I was really excited about that. So speaking of Russell, once again, we have our Booster Gold in the Flintstones. This is really more Booster Gold than the Flintstones book, featuring the Jetsons. Once again, I never watched the cartoon of the Flintstones because I thought it was kind of weird. I shouldn't say never. I watched it, and I was never satisfied as a child when I saw like my Hanna-Barbera and some other stuff, the Laugh Olympics, the Wacky Racers, some of those other ones. So it starts off with Booster Gold in future Gotham, where crime has been reduced to basically zero. There is only one cop because of all the cameras everywhere. But then we see there's an alien invasion, and they basically wipe out the one cop. And Booster Gold decides to go back in time to stop the aliens. I never really read too much Booster Gold. This book didn't make me really want to. But I did like his interaction because he goes back and he interacts with the Flintstones and has to figure out how to get his time machine repaired and back into the future. So, it was all right. The storyline was, especially with Russell, right at the very end, he does this great job of like hitting one poignant note, and I thought that was really very nice. And then there was Jimmy Palamonti and Amanda Conner. Of course, I believe that they're from the Harley Quinn comic book, with Pierre Brito as artist. And this would be the Jetsons. And let's see if we can get a kind of a good idea of what the Jetsons kind of look comic is. Of course, they're in the future and, well past even what Booster Gold is. I know they've said they've tied it back to the Flintstones at one time. It was a story about, George and his wife is not Betty, his daughter's Betty. So you meet George Jetson, his son Elroy, daughter Judy, Jane, his wife, so Jane. And they are looking for their daughter Judy, and they use this tracking chip, I guess, they have implanted in their children. They find out she's visiting grandma, and then they have to figure out what's going on. I don't want to give it away. It's a very short but nice story. This says this will be continued in the Jetsons comic, so I'm guessing Hanna-Barbera is selling because, all that's happening. So DC, if you're listening, a whole arc of this, please. I don't think I will be picking up the Jetsons. It just doesn't really seem like my thing. Especially if they do decide to do Connor and Palamonti on that one. I did spend my money, and once again, so each of those, is a $4.99, $5 book. So there's $15 in 3 books. Then my $4 book, the Commandy Challenge. I did enjoy this. It does feel sometimes that I did not remember like what the last episode was. But in truth, you don't really need to. You can pick up any one of these. You can read it for what it is. It's action adventure. It's this to that. Of course, the solve the last problem, create the next one. Here's the Commandy lifestyle. They have a young girl in here, which I think is supposed to kind of represent Flower in a way. It was an interesting story as I got through it. At first I thought it was going to be very one note. It started to build from there. And it was all right. Artwork also was nice on it. So Commandy Challenge was all right. It was at least good. I know there are some that I'm looking forward to more than others. So next I'll get to the infamous Iron Man. This is a Bendis comic. I know a lot of people have feelings one way or another on Bendis. I really think he's doing it on this one. It doesn't hurt that it's Maleev art. The Maleev art on it is really very nice. And Hollingsworth, I don't know if it is the coloring in this that also helps out so much, because I believe Hollingsworth is the color artist. In this one, the idea is I believe Doom has remnants of when he was a hero or a god of his Secret Wars, and he has been working with Iron Man, because I did not read the previous Iron Man before this. So it seems like for a long time he was working with Iron Man or interacting with him, trying to be a hero. Now, of course, spoilers that Tony Stark has died. Doom has taken his place, taken one of his suits, modified it, and so he uses both science and magic. He is also now going after villains. At the beginning of this one, he's going after the Wizard, who is chatting with, so it's that wonderful Maleev art. Wizard is chatting with MODOK, and MODOK's, he's after all of us, and MODOK's like, you're paranoid. And then all of a sudden, MODOK's like, he's behind you. And I love that, because then it's the interaction, the fight between Wizard and Doctor Doom, or New Iron Man, however you want to say it. It was really nice. Actually, the very beginning is a flashback to the college years of Reed Richards and Doom, and it shows how Doom was arrogant and hasn't quite lost that tone, because as he's taking down all these villains, it's like, I'm taking you down because it's the right thing to do. Obviously not because he cares. He's like, this is what a hero does. I'm doing it. I don't care if I have to boot stomp you into the ground to do it. I'm not a hero, but that's what heroes are supposed to do. I love that. It's like being told when you have to, it's like, this is your job and you have to do it. And he's like, all right, I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to do it the best because I'm Dr. Doom, but I don't like it. Because there was times, previous issues, where he goes to destroy a bunch of androids or robots, and as he's leaving, there's one that's going to come out and kill these kids, and he goes, oh yeah, Hero would go back and make sure that that's taken care of, and he destroys it. But it was just one of those ideas of, this is what a hero is supposed to do. So I've enjoyed the storyline for that, to see this super flawed hero, because he doesn't really, you see so often the hero's like, oh, I don't want to be a hero, I want to be normal. He's like, no, I'm Doom. I'm just a hero because I'm the best. So it was very good interaction. I continue to enjoy that. It's one of my top books. So as much as I know Marvel stepped in it lately, I'm still willing to pay the $3.99 for this book. So, speaking of great books, Black Widow. Sam Nee said he wrote for 12 issues. It really felt like he did. This one wrapped up, but not too fast or crazy. It really felt enjoyable. I was really thankful for that. And I will definitely read anything else that Sam Nee does, because it was a very good story. I feel like he knows how to do it. some of that may be Wade, showing him kind of how to piece it, how to stretch it, where everything should go. But this is what we talk about when we say that art sells the story, where art tells the story. You don't need as many word bubbles when you're showing them in the art. And I'm definitely getting away from any book that I can see huge. My thing was going dark. Anyway, where I can see huge chunks are telling me, story. I don't need that. I want the art to tell me the story. Definitely recommend picking this up in the issues if you can find them. Of course, trade otherwise. Marvel will hate you for picking up and trade instead. Jughead and the Hunger. I was surprised. I also, of course, do digital Hoopla. Hoopla is free through the library. I got a whole nother rant about that otherwise. But this I found already on Hoopla. So, I mean, this came out free on Hoopla pretty much, I'm guessing, the same day as I picked it up for $5. Another $5 book. This was worth it. It was a very good book. I'm very glad to add this to my collection. I mean, they don't even lie to you. Jughead is the werewolf on the cover, but the story in it is still better and deeper than, of course, what we get out of a lot of other indies. Definitely not that Archie. It's that Archie Afterlife feel. So it was very enjoyable. Some funny notes, but then once again some serious notes. So I really enjoyed it. Really recommend it. Get it on Hoopla. Clean Room. I've dictated that this thing is the moped jumping on the interstate. It was a very slow crawl, and it was very fun, very beautiful art. The art has changed. It's not horrible, but going from very delicious art to an apple's worth has been interesting. As you can see, I only have the single cover. I am not as special as Travis. But in this one, it's crazy. It almost, you can tell there's something fast going on. As I open it, the story isn't, the story is actually a few pages in. There's this other part where they're trying to explain more about the world. And so I, once again, am thinking I missed out on an issue. Something crazy has happened. What's going on? It's being rushed. It's everything is trying to wrap up. Everything is trying to finish. So I don't know. I'm guessing I'll stay on it, see if it goes on a break and then something else happens or it ends or whatever. There's a lot of good story to this, and the art is decently telling me that. I feel the artist was a little scared compared to what the previous person did. Both, violence and sex-wise, they seem to have kind of pulled back almost to a sense some of the shocking notes of it. But otherwise, I mean, that was it. That was my poll, y'all. So, hope you enjoyed your books. I had a great time listening to Round Table Saturday. I was able to do it while listening to some paperwork. And can't wait. 1 month and I get to start blabbing my thoughts on that channel again. Thankful for Travis always inviting me on. Hope to see more people on that show telling what they think about their books. And otherwise, tell me down below what you think about your books. And until then, catch rain!